This next game is the one and only game that I've played this year that was from this year. It's the only game from 2023 I've played all year. I play everything randomly. This happens sometimes, and it's a bummer that this is the only new game I've gotten to play, but luckily, it may be in the running for the best game I've played all year, and it's the remake of Resident Evil 4 on the PS5. When I first started game collecting all the way back in like 2008, 2009, around that time period, I remember Googling like the top 10 greatest games of all time, and almost everyone had Resident Evil 4 as their top game. It by far was the most beloved game of that time period, and it has gone on to be considered to be one of the greatest games of all time, and definitely like the best, or if one of the best, Resident Evil games. But I've never played it. I've never played the original Resident Evil 4. I have it on like every freaking console, and I've just never gotten to it. They're all in the backlog. And this one came up first. So this is the one I'm gonna have nostalgia for. I can't wait to play the original and compare the two and see which one I liked better. The story of this, if you don't know, is that the president's daughter's been kidnapped by this crazy cult in Spain, and you have to go there as Leon Kennedy, one of the classic characters from Resident Evil, and go through this scary as hell village to get her, right? The cult is basically like all zombies, and they're acting crazy, and they're super powerful, and it's just you, and you feel like the underdog. And I really like that about the Resident Evil games, and I loved that about this game. When Resident Evil first came out on the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube and all that, it took the gameplay style of the Resident Evil games and changed it and moved it to this like over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. And this has retained that sort of gameplay mechanic. It is a survival horror game through and through, although it does have some like strong action sequences in it. They added this new knife mechanic, and you can like block and parry and stealth kill with the knife, and it's super overpowered. I will say the knife is like the most powerful weapon in the game, but they balanced it and they gave it a durability meter so that the knife will break after a certain number of uses. You can repair it at the shopkeeper, but it keeps the game balanced and keeps you from just relying on the knife way too much. You just can't do it. Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, I think you can beat them all just with the knife, but not this one. You have to rely on some other weapons at some point. They've also added, or maybe they didn't add, maybe this is in the original, I don't think it is, but they added these like hidden collectibles and these special requests in certain areas where you have to like go kill a super overpowered mini boss, or you have to go and shoot 5 hidden medallions around the stage or whatever. And that's really fun as a side event in this game that like breaks up the tense gameplay. You just get to like explore around and find some hidden items, or really let the environment sink in. And that's really the strong suit of the Resident Evil games. Obviously, the game just looks incredible. It looks fantastic, especially in 4K. I know this video and the capture wasn't in 4K and it's just in 1080p, but it still looks really good. And the spectacular environments really shine through in the art style of this game. And the sound design, of course, is great, and the music's fantastic, just like it, you would expect from a Resident Evil game. While it doesn't look as good as Resident Evil Village, it has its own unique look, and I really like that about it. So my favorite thing to do in any Resident Evil game is just explore. After you kill all the enemies in the area, you explore around, you find the hidden items, you find all of the ammo laying around, you find the puzzle pieces, and you do the puzzles. That's my favorite part, and this game has a good amount of that, and I was really happy to see it. And I felt like I really lived in the area that Resident Evil 4 took place. Like, I feel like I was there and I got to spend enough time with it and enjoy the environments without stuff chasing me the whole time, to where like I absorbed the way the game felt. And that's what I want in any survival horror game. Unlike Resident Evil 8 that I reviewed on this channel, and I said that the first half of it was like the best of any Resident Evil game, and I'll stand by that. The first half of Resident Evil Village is better than any part of Resident Evil 4 Remake. However, that game really trails off in the second half and ends up being kind of like mediocre and bad towards the end of the game. Whereas Resident Evil 4 Remake starts off strong and just gets better as you go along. The end of it gets a little bit weaker, but it's a much more balanced and cohesive gameplay experience. It stays very good all the way through. There are no down parts to this game. There are no sections that I hated and no environments where I was like, oh, I hate this. It's just strong all the way through. Especially once you get to the castle, which is my favorite part and really kind of the longest section of the game, I would say. And just like Resident Evil Village, like the castle was the part of the game that shined the most. It looked the best, it was the coolest environments, it was the most fun to explore around because it wasn't linear and had a lot of really cool puzzles and set pieces. This is the longest Resident Evil game I've ever played, next to Resident Evil 6, I think. I spent close to like 20 hours on this in my first playthrough, and I have to say the pacing, like I said, was just spot on. It never dragged. I kept thinking the game was going to end like 8 hours in, like in the village, and then I ended up at the castle, and I was like, oh, this must be the big ending of it. And I get to the castle, and then like another 8 hours after that, I was like, this must be the end of the game. Nope, there's a whole nother section after that, and it was really cool to experience that. It was a shock to me. I didn't know it was coming, and I loved it. The things I hate about this are the same things that I think everybody hates in every game. And hate is a strong word. Let's just say these are the things that, I don't know, I would have preferred to be a little bit different. But maybe not. Maybe you needed these things to make the game the experience that it was. But they were frustrating. After you rescue Ashley, who's the president's daughter that you're looking for in the game does turn into like a big escort mission for large portions of it, and you have to control the spacing between you and Ashley. You kind of have her wait in one spot or hang close by you, and all the enemies go for her. They're trying to like grab her and steal her and hurt her and like run away with her, and you're constantly having to rescue her and worry about hitting her or accidentally shoot her or throwing a grenade in the wrong spot and blowing her up. It's hard and it's stressful, I have to say that, but I guess that's what Capcom was going for with this game. They want you to feel that because that's what Leon would be feeling if he was really doing it, right? Areas where like these catapults are blasting you and stuff, and you're having to control Ashley, and she's not running as fast as you, and you run past this catapult shot, and then she like lags behind and gets blasted. That's annoying. But it's not so annoying to like make you throw in the towel. It just adds a couple of minutes of frustration, not like hours. I never got stuck on any section of this game for very long. I know people say it's really, really hard, and there are tons of people online complaining about how hard Resident Evil 4 Remake is. I didn't find it to be that difficult. It was challenging for sure, and it kept me on my toes, but I thought the gunplay mechanics in it and the knife mechanics and just the general combat like worked extremely well. And like I said, I never really got stuck on anything more than, you know, it taking me 2 or 3 tries at most. I thought of one thing I really do hate about it. When Ashley is in tow and you're escorting her around, there's several times where you're trying to solve a puzzle and Ashley's stupid ass will just like randomly blurt out the solution. Like you work on it for like 2 minutes, you're trying to figure it out, and Ashley's like, maybe we should try shooting this thing over here. And I'm like, Ashley, crap, I want to solve the puzzles. That's my favorite part of the game, and you ruined it for me. There were like 2 puzzles I was really trying to sort out, and she just told me the answer. I don't like that. I think that should be an option you could turn on, or you could tell her to like shut up. But that made me mad. So 2 of the puzzles in Resident Evil 4 Remake were taken away from me. I never got to solve them because Ashley ruined it for me. That being said, Resident Evil 4 Remake was absolutely spectacular. While Resident Evil 8 has like the best section of any Resident Evil game, and it has the best graphics, and I would say a better story, Resident Evil 4 is great all the way through. It has incredible gameplay, by far the best gameplay of any Resident Evil game I've played, and that just like bumps it up so much. It really has what it takes to back up all the praise people just pour all over this game. It has the best mechanics of any Resident Evil game I've played, and after finishing it, I wanted to go right back and play it again. So Resident Evil 4 Remake was incredible. Definitely in running for Game of the Year. We'll have to see what happens at the end of the year when I rank the top 10 games I played. For a while there, I was debating whether this or Resident Evil Village was better, and I think this game is better. I would say Resident Evil 4 Remake is a masterpiece. It's the only game this year I've reviewed that is this high, but it is a 10 out of 10, and it's well deserved. You have to play it.